adjusting, adapting to the current state of things. Even if there's no patch, teams just change how they approach the game.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I mean, we'll talk about this tomorrow when we do complexity. That the thing that's impressed me so much about that team is that they showed up to this event a vastly better team than the team that won the Americas qualifiers. You just haven't seen the same improvement from Hot Six. And in this environment where these players are so good, these teams are working so hard, if you're not improving, you're going to lose.
Yeah, and the differences, just to put it into context, are minute differences of improvement. We're talking about players who are probably at 99%, all of them, and then it's like a 0.5% sway between a great player and an average top player. And so a 0.1 improvement is actually quite a big improvement, isn't it?
The bigger improvement is, I mean, more measurable as a team, like how you figure things out. So as an individual player, I think many of the players here at TI who have been knocked out already are good enough to win. It's just, team game.
We are still waiting for the players to be in the booths and getting ready for the draft. But while we're doing that, why don't we take a look at tomorrow's state of play, because we do have some phenomenal games. Alan already mentioned the fact that we have complexity in action. Now, for me, as an esports fan for the last 15 years or so, that first match, Evil Geniuses versus Complexity, is absolutely amazing. I get goosebumps thinking about how cool that is. We'll tell you why it's so cool tomorrow as well, but suffice to say, without ruining it and without spoilers, there is plenty of needle between these two organisations and the sets of players, so it's absolutely brilliant. Team Secret are also involved tomorrow, but now it's back to the arena where the teams are coming out into the key arena to take place in the booths for the final time this evening, our last match and the final game of lower brackets, because this is the last best of one, the last chance saloon for both sets of teams.
Man, and it just makes me emotional just watching this kind of footage and realizing, I mean, this might be the last time that you see Burning on a TI stage. It might be the last time you see Chuan or Ferrari. I mean, these guys are legends of the game, and their contributions will live on, but they're playing for their lives tonight.
Yeah, enjoy, appreciate, cheer loudly, because it might be the last time you get to do so for your heroes. They'll get settled in. We'll get ready for the draft very shortly. We've still got a little bit of time to talk about MVP, Hot Six, and IG as well. With relations to the group stages, was it... No, actually, let me rephrase this. It was a surprise to see IG not do so well.
Well, IG had their issues before, and I mean, they did manage to take a series over C9 at ESL, but just increasingly in recent months, they haven't gelled as a team. And in the past, I've kind of picked on Luo's inconsistency a little bit on the off lane, but really increasingly, this has looked like a collection of insanely talented players, but not a team, right? I want to ask Merlini that.
I think they admitted that, though, as well, didn't they?
Absolutely.
They said they made the investment, they brought the great players in, it hasn't worked.
Right. I wanted you brought something up earlier, though, Ben, that I really want to explore a little deeply. I feel like Hot Six have to go outside the box to win here. I feel like unless they show up a drastically different team than we've seen so far at this event, I feel like they have to pull out something that we haven't seen before. If you're drafting in that mentality, especially in the best of one, what are you looking to exploit against IG?
I think you try and exploit their tendency to put Burning on a super farm-heavy hero. They tend to Naga a lot, not really this patch, but over history they have. And, of course, Anti-Mage. I think Anti-Mage has been a pretty popular pick today, or at least a hero that's been looked at as a very safe strategy to close out a best of one. It's like, okay, the other team, you have to come at us. You have to push high ground, break it before 30, 40, and keep Anti-Mage down for that entire duration, or you're going to lose. I mean, Na'Vi didn't end up winning, but still, they had a very, very good shot. And, again, Burning has a set. He is one of the most legendary Anti-Mages in the game. And I think... I don't know. I really like the Tinker for MP. It didn't work out that well for them in the group stage, but I think it's a hero that they can defend long enough and out late game IG, which is their best bet, I think.
Okay. Yeah. I was definitely curious to see them play Tinker as well because of the itemization that they went for. Early Aghanims was something that I don't know if we have seen Aghanims at all.
Yeah, it was only like the third or fourth time, and I think the other couple were, I'm sure Knox will pop something up if that hero gets picked, but it was a very unusual build, and I actually I kind of liked the concept in a way in that game.
I mean, it was interesting, and it could have worked, but it didn't. And at the point where it didn't, everyone that I talked to is like, yeah, if you went Hex, maybe you would have won by now.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's so hard to go for an innovation build because when you lose, you look so stupid.
Right.
If it works, you look like a genius.
And the contrast here, of course, is that MVP, in theory, can go and be a bit crazy with this stuff, but I'm not sure that IG can afford to do anything crazy right now. They need to be pretty safe, pretty sensible, and do what they can do.
I mean, I don't think they need to. I mean, quite honestly, you're looking at this game as IG, and you're the better team. I think on paper there's just no arguing that. And I think you go out there and you play your game, and you maybe expect them to do something a little bit. But I expect a very conservative draft out of IG, not giving too much away early and saving some of those counter picks for the end.
Okay. What sort of picks are we looking at, do you think, for IG?
I'm not sure about the picks, but like the way they need to approach that game, they need to me, rely on Xuan and Faith. They need to give them the trust they deserve, and if Xuan and Faith, they like their rotations early on and everything, like they weren't when that team was successful, they were the backbone of the team. You can always expect Ferrari and Burning to perform even low. Like, they will, they will deliver.
Yeah.
So it's all about Xuan and Faith to me.
Okay.
The space they get.
We've got about 40 seconds to go before the draft starts, so it's predictions time. Let's put you on the spot very quickly, Malik.
IG.
Yeah, IG.
Sean Winterwyven, IG wins.
Yeah, IG too.
Yeah, I had a funny feeling that might have been a clean sweep, so we've still got 30 seconds.
My heart is still with you, Jarex.
I would love to see MVP Hot Six show us something tonight. The fact is they just haven't shown us that spark so far this tournament that carried them through the SEA qualifiers.
Yeah, I think you're all in agreement. This is probably the most one-sided prediction of the evening anyway.
Yeah, it is for sure.
I look forward to something crazy for sure. We will see if MVP Hot Six bring it.
Hot Six's turn to battle.
Invictus Gaming versus MVP Hot Six.
Last chance saloon for the two players and the two sets of players and the two teams who are now in the arena for our final game of the night. We've lost 3. We're about to lose a 4th. It's MVP Hot Six versus Invictus Gaming.
And we haven't seen a single Lesher. Like, not a single one.
Hey, the question is, why would you let that hero through?
It's only gone through a few times as it is. Hasn't been actually 100% successful when it's gone through either, so it's not like it's...
Yeah, but I'm sure we'll talk about this again because we're going to see LGD again. But for me, all you needed to watch is what Maybe did with that hero against Secret, and it's just goodbye.
There's going to be a point in the tournament where people are going to need to rely on something, and when you give away Leshak, at least you're sure they're going to first pick it. So that's already a basis to a draft and how to prepare it for a match. So we might see it later, but you're not going to give it away for a best of 1. That's for sure.
Yeah, only 13 times it's actually gone through. And it's an 85 win ratio, so not devastating, but reasonable. 61.5% is pretty good.
The two main strats that we've seen from IG, I think, is like a really push-heavy strat with DK and Chen are the backbones of that, as well as a 4-protect one with burning on Anti-Mage or Naga. Sometimes Spectre, but we haven't seen Spectre picked at all. I think we're going to see them run one of those two.
Yeah. I would slightly favor the 4-protect one in this scenario. I feel like even though you do expect a bit of a pocket strat, you make MVP come to you. You put the pressure on them to make the plays.
Yeah, as we saw versus match versus EG, their late game is a little suspect. Their early game is really, really strong, though.
Yeah, I'm looking to both these teams and just thinking about them. And I think Vina is a very high priority target here. And she will be first picked. I barely had time to say it before he even gets... I didn't think he would get first picked, actually. But Jarex loves playing it. And IG also play a really good Lina. Definitely on mid. And they also play a good support Lina.
Yeah, I think have I seen MP run that hero mid? I think they run it both as a mid and a support. I wouldn't swear to that.
I haven't seen MP on it, but I've seen Jarex and what he can do. In the C qualifiers, he destroyed everyone with this hero.
And if I'm not mistaken, Forev has run Lina, and he actually destroyed Vichy Gaming. It's one of the games they won during the group stage, and he went like 20 to something. Like, he did amazingly well with it.
They did a safe lane, right?
It was safe lane.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, they have actually four of their players in the last 25 games. He and Forev, Jarex, and MP have all played Lina, so it's a hugely flexible pick.
definitely, and that's the Ferrari Raiden SF. Unless it is, Schwan or Face that plays it and Ferrari plays support, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think we're going to have the same.
Safe to assume that it's going to be a Ferrari SF.
I don't think we're going to have the Fnatic thing happening here. I doubt that Ferrari is going to be like, yeah, you know what? It's actually not
I'm going to play the support. You get to play it. No, I mean, the common point with Fnatic though was that I believe IG changed drafters during the group stage at some point, and Luo got to draft for a few games, which is generally not a very good sign, for a team.
Yeah.
And now they're back to Faith, which is rather positive. After they got a few days to think about what they did and wrong, especially.
Yeah.
So
it can be a good decision for the team. It's just a sign that something is not right. So
exactly.
it's bad that it is happening, but it could have helped as well to get new perspectives.
What exactly do you think IG's biggest weakness was during the group stage? Like why they underperformed so
Their team play, to me, and as I said earlier, also the space they give to their supports. I think the movement of your support early on is what's going to decide how the game's going to be played. And Faith and Schwan, they're known to be very, they're a very good support duo. They used to play with each other, and they're usually really the backbone of the team. And I haven't feel like they were in the last games they played.
I watched a lot of their games casting, and we cast a lot of C9 games and IG games, me and Toby. And IG, what I felt was off for them was just when they went into team fights, they would sometimes not really overextend and dive the way you imagine, like into towers and stuff. They just put themselves in unfortunate situations. A slow and steady move, but into a bad scenario where you get surrounded or so. And it sometimes cost them the entire game. And Sean was playing really well in the majority of their games. So I would like to mention him as the MVP through the group stage.
Yeah, I thought their support rotations have been good, but they just didn't capitalize on it. And that's an issue that we've also seen from C9. And you draw a contest